the spirit of refusing to give up. There was a merchant who was traveling far, carrying an old donkey. After traveling for almost a full day, the merchant intended to rest under a shady tree. Pity to see that his old donkey was also exhausted, the merchant removed the heavy load from the donkey's back. He did not tie the old donkey and let the donkey rest while eating the leaves around the place. The merchant was exhausted and really enjoyed his rest. After eating a little lunch, he began to sleep. Without realizing it, his old donkey was busy wandering to a place some distance away from where he rested. When the merchant began to snore and was enjoying his sweet dream, the old donkey drifted further and further away from him. Suddenly, the merchant woke up from his sleep, hearing the neighing of his old donkey. He hurriedly ran towards the place where the shrill voice had come from. Arriving at the place where the voice came from, how shocked the merchant was. When he saw his old donkey, it fell into a rather deep hole and was flooded with water. Inside the pit, the old donkey kept screaming and was moving uncontrollably in panic. As time went on, the old donkey's screams became more and more grievous, and he seemed to be getting tired. The merchant, who saw the condition of the donkey, panicked because he didn't know what to do. Apparently, the screams of the old donkey were very loud and heartbreaking. Also heard by some people who happened to pass by the place. After considering the situation, some people had advised the merchant to just let the old donkey go. It is late in the afternoon, and we do not have ropes and enough strength to lift them. Then the old donkey suffered long in the pit. "Sir, just let it go, and let us help bury it with earth," said one of them. The merchant gasped at the suggestion. He looked back into the hole and saw that his donkey was getting tired and his screams were getting weaker. His heart grew more compassionate and could not bear to see the condition of his old donkey. Finally, the merchant turned to the people around him and he nodded in agreement. Immediately after that, with a heavy heart, the merchant, assisted by several people, began to fill the old donkey with soil and sand. When the dirt and sand began to fall on the donkey's back, he was startled, frightened, and again screaming in pain. But the earth and the sand kept falling from above. It was in that panic that the old donkey kept moving and shaking his body, so that the ground that hit his back fell down. His feet began to twitch and trampled the ground that fell from his back. And so on. After a long time, the water that had soaked the donkey's feet began to be buried by the ground. As more soil and sand were piled onto his back, the hole became more and more shallow. Unexpectedly, the old donkey was already very exhausted. Suddenly became even more excited, shook his back, and trampled the ground in the hole. The merchant and the people who helped him were amazed to witness the incident. They are also increasingly eager to throw sand and dirt into the hole. Just as the sun was setting, the hole was getting shallower, and suddenly, hup! The old donkey managed to jump out of the hole. Everyone shouted with joy and clapped at the sight of the magnificent sight. The donkey survived because the spirit refused to give up. The story above teaches us about the importance of the spirit of refusing to give up in the face of trials that come repeatedly. The old donkey was tired and fell into the hole earlier. It is like someone who is in the midst of misfortune or a serious problem. If the person who is afflicted with misfortune is just silent, resigned, accepts fate alone, and not wanting to take advantage of every slightest opportunity to get out of his troubles, will almost certainly end his history. So, never give up if you are facing a trial or a very heavy problem. Keep moving, don't just stand still, and resign yourself to waiting for the time to determine the black and white of our lives. Use our extraordinary mind to solve the problem. And God certainly will not leave us to fend for ourselves in an effort to get out of the problem. Believe. Thank you for watching.